Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Hurley now deploying the drag chute. Ferguson rotating the nose gear down to the deck. Nose gear touchdown. Having fired the imagination of a generation, a ship like no other, its place in history secured, the space shuttle pulls into port for the last time. Its voyage at an end.
Speed. And there's a referred camera view of the Space Shuttle Endeavour as it's coming in for a landing. Gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Drag chute deployed by Greg Johnson. Forward gear touchdown. And so after a journey of 6.5 million miles, Endeavour landing in darkness, but illuminated by the ingenuity, dedication of every astronaut, scientist, engineer, flight controller, mechanic, and dreamer that helped it fly. The fleet's youngest ship completing its 122 millionth mile after its crew delivered an instrument to the International Space Station that will sift through the cosmic darkness for years to come.
Space Shuttle Discovery now on final approach to the Kennedy Space Center. Just more than 30 seconds to go. Discovery's gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. The nose of the shuttle being rotated down toward the flight deck. The parachute being deployed. And nose gear touchdown, and the end of a historic journey. And to the ship that has led the way time and time again, we say farewell, Discovery. Atlantis now beginning what is known as the pre-flare maneuver. It will pull the nose up a little bit right before it hits the runway. Its speed now 320 miles per hour. The gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Atlantis' nose being now rotated down toward the runway. The chute being deployed. And nose gear touchdown. Space Shuttle Atlantis now comes home to the Kennedy Space Center for the final time. 25 years, 32 flights, and more than 120 million miles traveled. The legacy of Atlantis now in the history books.
It's currently 3,500 feet and traveling at a rate of 370 miles per hour. "30 seconds until touchdown." Main gear, landing gear now down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Pilot Jim Dutton now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. That brings an end to the STS-131 mission, the 131st Space Shuttle flight, and the 33rd to the International Space Station. Discovery left Florida on April 5th with 7.6 tons of new science equipment and spare parts, including equipment that should improve the station's capability for Earth observation work, equipment that could help astronauts avoid muscle atrophy and scientists better understand muscle atrophy, and equipment that will help keep the station systems cooling properly.
Main gear touchdown. The landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Pilot Terry Burt's deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Endeavour rolling out on runway 15 at Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 5.7 million mile mission. Endeavour has completed its 24th mission and the 130th Space Shuttle mission. It was the 32nd to the International Space Station overall, Endeavour's 10th trip to the complex.
It is a speed 356 miles per hour and 6,700 miles in altitude. Charlie Hobart flaring up the shuttle's nose for landing, and as you can see, the main gear of in place. Main gear touchdown. Pilot Barry Wilmore deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Atlantis now rolling out on runway 33 at Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 4,490,138 mile flight to the International Space Station.
The pre-flare maneuver conducted. Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Kevin Ford now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery rolling out on runway 22 at Edwards Air Force Base, California, wrapping up a 5.7 million mile mission to resupply and fortify the International Space Station. Tim Cobra home after 58 days in space.
Minute to touchdown. Endeavour's landing gear will be locked down in place at 300 feet in altitude. "30 seconds to touchdown." The landing gear is down and locked. Manual touchdown. Doug Hurley now deploying the drag chute. And Commander Mark Polanski rotating the nose gear down to the deck. Nose gear touchdown. Endeavour rolling out on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 6.5 million mile mission. This is the 71st landing at the Kennedy Space Center. Endeavour has completed its 23rd mission and the 127th Space Shuttle mission. It was the 29th to the International Space Station.
Speed 350 miles an hour. Altitude 2,000 feet. Landing gear down. Gear down and locked. Touchdown. Hot air flow deploying drag chute that'll help slow Endeavour on the runway. Nose gear touchdown. Final reveal for Endeavour's home improvement to the International Space Station mission is now complete. 124th Space Shuttle mission, 27th Shuttle mission of the station, and the 22nd mission for Endeavour.
"2,000 feet. Commander Scott Altman beginning to flare out the vehicle, pitch the nose up as he approaches runway 22 from the northeast. 300 feet, landing gear down. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Space Shuttle Atlantis is rolling out on runway 22 at Edwards Air Force Base, completing 197 orbits of the Earth while traveling 5,276,000 miles. This landing marks the 53rd shuttle mission to end at Edwards Air Force Base. Atlantis spent 7 days servicing the Hubble Space Telescope that included 5 spacewalks, totaling a record 37 hours. Atlantis has completed its 30th mission and the 126th in the history of the Space Shuttle program. The Hubble Space Telescope's final servicing mission is complete. but its mission of discovery is just beginning.
Deploy the landing gear. Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Ham now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery rolling out on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 5.7 million mile mission to further expand a global city in space. Garrett Reisman home after 95 days away from the planet.
Gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. And nose gear touchdown. Space Shuttle Endeavour is rolling out on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 250 orbits of the Earth while traveling 6,578,000 miles. This landing marks the 16th night landing at the Kennedy Space Center and 22nd in the history of the shuttle program. Tonight's landing is the 68th at KSC. Endeavour spent almost 12 docked days to the International Space Station, a record, leaving the station larger and more capable than it was before. European Space Agency astronaut Leopold Eharts returning home after 48 days in space, 44 of those aboard the International Space Station.
Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Poindexter now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown.
Altitude 250 feet. Gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery's crew completing a 5.3 million mile mission to restore the International Space Station to an assembly-ready status and proving that they can use a 50-foot long boom as a heat shield repair platform.
Discovery's descent rate is 20 times higher and 7 times steeper than a commercial airliner on the final approach. Discovery's landing gear is down and locked in place. Main gear touchdown. Commander Pam Milroy is rotating the nose gear down to the runway and nose gear touchdown. Discovery is rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 6.25 million mile mission. Discovery completing its 34th mission to space and the 23rd shuttle flight to the International Space Station.
Main landing gear is down. Main gear touchdown. And nose gear touchdown. Space Shuttle Discovery is rolling out on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 202 orbits of the Earth while traveling 5,304,000 miles. This landing marks the 70th shuttle mission to end at KSC. Discovery spent 8 days docked to the International Space Station, leaving behind the first Japanese long-duration crew member and also leaving it more power capability, setting the stage for an increase to 6-person crew in late May. Sandy Magnus, mission specialist, now aboard Discovery, home after 134 days in space, 129 of those aboard the International Space Station. Discovery is completing the 36th voyage of its life and the 125th Space Shuttle mission in the history of the program.
The landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Deploying of the drag chute delayed to assess the conditions of the crosswinds on the orbiter as it rolls out on the runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a nearly 5.3 million mile mission. Endeavour returning the first educator mission specialist Barbara Morgan to Earth to begin the next step in her journey to inspire future generations to explore, learn, and build a better future. Landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Atlantis rolling out on runway 22 at Edwards Air Force Base, wrapping up a 5.8 million mile mission. Atlantis completing its 28th mission, leaving the International Space Station with more power generation capability and bringing home Expedition 15 astronaut Sunny Williams after 195 days in space.
Beginning to pre-flare, setting up for deployment of the landing gear at 300 feet. Landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery is rolling out at sunset on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 204 orbits, traveling 5.3 million miles. Discovery completing its 33rd mission and its 7th to the International Space Station.
Altitude 225 feet. Gear down and locked. Touchdown. Drag chute deploy. Nose gear touchdown.
(1,000 feet). Landing gears down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Drag chute deploy. Nose gear touchdown. And Discovery is home.
Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Lockhart now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Endeavour rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 5.7 million mile mission, bringing home the Expedition 5 crew after more than a half year in space. Nose now flared up. Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Melroy now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Atlantis rolling out on runway 33 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 4.5 million mile mission to continue the expansion of the International Space Station. Wishful thinking for Commander Ken Cockrell, who wanted very badly to land in Florida today. However, he is landing 3,000 miles to the west at Edwards Air Force Base, everything in great shape, just moments away from touchdown. Cockrell will be flaring up Endeavour's nose. Pilot Paul Lockhart will drop the landing gear, and Endeavour will settle down on the runway 22, the concrete runway, at the Dryden Flight Research Center at Edwards Air Force Base, California. Cockrell flaring up the nose, final maneuver. Gear deployed. Main Main gear touchdown. Lockhart now deploying the drag chute. Nose rotating to the deck. Nose gear touchdown. Endeavour rolling out on runway 22 at Edwards Air Force Base, California, wrapping up a 5.8 million mile mission, bringing home the Expedition 4 crew after 6.5 months on the International Space Station.